Ah, you've joined us again for our tale. I hope we don't bore you to death. It's really playing games, the Fall of Plaguestone, and I'm Graham playing Thugrin Barkbiter, the Dwarven Druid.
Sorry, I fell asleep there for a minute. I got a little bored. I'm Sarah. I play Lyra Lazarine, the half-elf ranger.
And I'm Brian. I play Lina Bellis, the halfling barbarian.
I'm Garrett. I play Ruckus, the goblin bard.
I am Ross. I play Aviana, the human wizard.
And I'm also Ross. I'm playing Art of the Human Champion.
And I am Patrick. I am the GM. I play the very dangerous wildlife in these parts.
Killing
So, I did share with you the handout of the boar in case anybody doesn't know what a boar looks like. It looks like that, except it's probably not. It's really dark. The image is really dark. Anyway, so you are all in the process of attempting to figure out who has killed Bort. You hired him to take you on a journey. He died, apparently of poison. So you're kind of investigating the folks here in Etran's Folly, everyone who is in the tavern when he died, to kind of figure out maybe who killed him. The sheriff here seems to be pretty useless, gave up nearly instantly. But you all know you didn't do it, and so you're kind of trying to figure that out. Last time, you started by Edra, who is a halfling. She kind of takes care of the stables at the feed mill. She asked you to help with getting some rosemary so that you could, or she could, smoke it to then definitely just cure the fleas that are on your horses. You did that. Thugrin talked to the bear that lived in the rosemary bushes. She tolerated his presence for enough time for him to cut the rosemary. You slept, and you now all pretty much smell like rosemary. You woke up in the morning. You went and cleared out the bloodseekers that were kind of stalking the old shrine, and Thugrin sort of rededicated it. And then you decided to go talk to Trin, who is one of the servers at the feed mill. You arrived at her farm, which you know that she shares with her brother Marnie, and you found Marnie running from an angry boar. You then fought the boar, which was the most dangerous thing you fought thus far. A couple of you nearly died, maybe, but you did manage to slay the boar. Trin has invited you to come inside with her, and Marnie is going to drag the boar to be cleaned. So he's going to kind of start dragging it down to this little outbuilding down here. And he tells you that the boar will be done in, it may be a day or it may be most of the day, but he'll come bring it to you. It's a nice reward for helping him. So Trin leads the way to the front door.
I look forward to eating that big pig.
Hey, we harvest what we can from it. Poor beastie.
Trin says, "Now I'm actually quite surprised to see you all still here. I thought Bort usually only stays for a single night. Did,
Have you
come
not
on
heard?
in."
Wait, what?
She opens the door.
Hang on. Wait, everybody wait. Wait. Hold. And I go back to the group. Whatever Art's doing, that's fine. Did she just say what I think she said?
I guess news travels slowly in this town.
But we've seen her since Bort's died, haven't we?
No.
Wasn't she
And
sent
she left.
home?
She left before he was murdered.
Well,
Did she?
Yeah,
Yeah, she was
left through the
in
front
the
door.
face with a cup, and then she left.
She's not some kind of doppelganger or something. Some
I
magic
mean, it's
transformer.
true. She might be a doppelganger. I can't deny. I can't deny that fact.
I'm
But
going
she
to
was
stay out here.
definitely not in the inn when Bort died.
Yeah, because it was after the fight.
Alright, I'm staying out here. If you get attacked by a doppelganger, call me. I'll come rushing in with Oak and Claw. I'm not still entirely convinced it's not some trickery afoot.
Well, if you're not convinced, why don't you come in with us and find out?
That's what she wants. She wants me to do that. She knows I'm onto her. Just give her the stink eye.
Yeah, but if she knows you're onto her, she'd know you'd stay outside. So obviously she wants you to stay outside, so you should go inside.
Halfling, I don't like your mind tricks. Alright, I'll go.
While they're having this conversation, I will be explaining the situation to Trin.
So Trin seems, she's kind of preparing tea for you. She says, "I'm afraid I wasn't expecting visitors. I don't have much prepared. Sounds like dreadful business. I came here during the fight, and I just haven't been back. It's been, 2 days, and I just haven't felt like going back to the feed mill, and Bort was an
how is your
occasional
head?
customer, and I'm, She reaches up and touches the side of her face, and she has a bruise. She says, "I'm feeling about well enough to go back, maybe in a day or so. I'm shocked to hear about your friend, though. He was quite a nice man when he came through once or twice a year. Told good stories."
Yeah. He was a good man.
I
But, listen. Did you happen to see anything on your way home from the feed mill that night?
She kind of looks down and she says, "Well, I can't say I was paying too much attention. I was trying to hurry home. It was just an evening like any other, save for the fight. You know, these fights happen from time to time, and this is the first time I've been injured on the job. I was right shocked, but I can't say I saw nothing that was out of the ordinary. Just a dark night in town."
Mm-hmm. And listen, you haven't happened to, in the past, seen or meet with anyone alone, someone that you don't recognize from town? On one of his past trips, I mean.
She kind of thinks, and she says, "Well, I know he sells to all sorts of folks here, but no one, I've never seen him with a stranger except for folks he brings by on his caravan. He usually has some extra guards. Not dealings here in town that I know of."
All right. Thank you.
She says, "I'm happy."
You cut out there for a sec.
He's still cut out.
No.
Oh no, he's
She's
revealing
transforming.
secrets.
She's transforming
You
into
just-
a doppelganger.
You just had to say something, Graham, and now look what's happening.
No kidding.
What have I
Am I
done?
coming through? Can you hear me?
Yes.
For
Um,
the viewers, right before we started streaming this evening, Graham said about how good the stream has been as far as avoiding technical difficulties.
And it's been all downhill since there. Thanks,
Yep.
Graham.
This
It
monkey's
gets
paw.
better because I have like 1,000 ping spike every 10 seconds, which I've had that issue before.
All right,
Sorry,
Graham.
like,
What is your desk made out of?
I miss like
I've
2 seconds of
ruined-
dialogue like every 10 seconds.
Oh no, I've ruined the internet.
What is your desk made of, Graham?
Made of plastic and wood.
It's made of plastic and wood. Try knocking on it. Maybe plastic and wood is good enough.
Ross, I think I can fix your problem, but it would involve resetting our wireless.
Yeah, I know.
Oh,
That change I
God.
made, I think there's a reason we weren't doing that before. Okay. So Trent says, I'm happy to help and with what little I know. And you can tell, if you go back to the feed mill, you can tell Delma that I'll be back tomorrow. I just needed a couple days to nurse my pride. She picks up a piece of ice she's got in a cloth and just sort of puts it to her cheek.
So, out of character, to be correct, just for accuracy, she said that whenever she's seen Bort do business in town, he usually has a retinue with him, right?
No, so what she was getting at is, yeah, she's never seen him like do business with anyone she didn't recognize. She has seen him with strangers, but it's usually people like you.
Got it.
You know, she sees strangers come with him and leave, but she's never really seen him talk to anybody she's never met before.
All right, cool.
But has she seen him talk to people in town?
Yes. He is, as she describes it, he has been known to do business in town before. You know, meeting with the miller, meeting with, you know, a blacksmith. I don't know that they have a blacksmith, but meeting with, they'd have to have a blacksmith. Meeting with just various artisans delivering stuff. She can describe that to you.
Could we get a list?
She says, well, I wouldn't know.
Is there somebody that would know everyone, though? Was there anybody that's been asking about him before we showed up?
Not that I
Like-
can
like
think
that-
of, but
Like asking when he might be, when the caravan is expected?
not that I can think of. But if you're looking for someone to tell you about everyone in town, well, that woman's Delma. Her father might be the mayor, but she's the one who knows what's what.
All right. Well, we just wanted to come and check on you, and it's a good thing that we came when we did.
I am quite happy you helped my dear brother. I wouldn't want him to get injured by a giant frightening boar.
Do you know where he was?
Well,
On,
he just
on murder day?
oh my bro. Well, he was murder day. Well, he was here when I returned. He doesn't come to the feed mill too often. He works the field and I work 4 nights a week. We make do, although I have to say I've thought about moving somewhere where I could earn a little more silver. Well, where we could both earn a little more silver.
What keeps you here?
Inertia, maybe? Hard to say. Moving's hard. Although, every time Bort comes through and tells his stories of this place or that place, I get it in my mind for a good week or two to leave and go wherever he's talked about, and Monty always talks me out of it, but I think one of these days it's going to be me talking him into going somewhere a little more productive.
Maybe this is the time.
She kind of looks at you and says, "It might be. This might be my opportunity, my sign. I'll think about it. Talk to him."
Hmm.
I wonder where that boar came from. I guess there's no way to track it back to the woods, eh, Thugrin? What angered it so much?
Where's this tracking the boar? If that's the path we are to take, I can take us there.
It was probably the murder hornets.
Yeah,
They're
these
just
animals are
misunderstood.
feisty.
They're just crying out for attention. They need loving. They need care. We should find where that boar came from. What foul thing drove him in to such a state. And I will start to examine the area for boar tracks.
Let me look. I think this is a... Yeah, make a survival check.
Survival.
I'd like to ask Marnie if he knows where the boar came from.
I was wondering if someone would think of that, or if you're just going to run off. A 24. Okay, so...
And we asked Marty.
Thugrin, you find the tracks. Marnie says, "Well, I stumbled on his lair. I think I practically stepped on the thing, and boars. They're angry. They're angry a lot. This one was angry at me. I thought I could get home, and I almost did."
I still want to see kind of where the boar came from and go investigate where Marnie was traipsing.
Yeah, so you can head through the woods through the forest here to the east, and you eventually come upon what looks like a boar's sort of nesting area.
Do I see any signs of younglings, of young boars?
What's your perception?
My perception is plus
Actually,
7.
I think I can just... You look around and you do not.
And there's no, like, things that are off, signs of corruption or disease around here.
No, there do not seem to be.
Okay.
It seems to be an angry boar. You could make a nature check on that if you want to. On the nature of boars.
No, I'll come back to the team. Doesn't seem to be anything amiss with the boar's lair. This boar might just be a red herring.
Or maybe
Wait.
be an animal.
No, a herring is a kind of fish. I don't know a lot about nature, but I know that.
The boar's brown.
Yeah, it's. I thought it was black.
This is why I live alone.
While I have Marnie's ear, I'd like to ask him where he was on the day of murder day.
Well, first of all, Marnie is shocked to discover that somebody was murdered.
Well, I wouldn't put it like that. I would say, 2 days ago.
Where were you on the day when someone was murdered?
He says, 2 days ago. 2 days ago. Well, I suppose I was here. I was, like any other day, I was working on the farm, tending the couple of chickens, sowing crops.
Simple father.
Like you do in Desness. Like you do at the end of actually, there should definitely be, everything should already be planted at the end of Desmos, but still, doing farm stuff.
Okay.
Brutal.
He explains in excruciating detail the
Right.
farm stuff that he did.
Sure.
Yeah, there was just a bit of a tragedy with the caravan people, and we've been investigating it. So we were hoping that you might have been able to see something.
He nods and says, "Unfortunately, I was here all day, and the most exciting thing that happened was my sister coming back with a big welt on her cheek. First time anyone at her job has ever hurt her. Hopefully it'll be the last."
Oh. Alright, watch out for pigs.
He just nods. I'll bring this. Once it's all prepared, I'll bring it up to Delma, and you can keep it for yourself, or sell it to a tanner, or sell it to her, whatever you like.
Sure thing.
I wonder if I could probably make armor out of that hide. I already have hide armor, but this would be cooler.
Yeah, making armor with it would be a craft check.
I could pay somebody to do it for me if I had money.
You could. You would need a tanner. Can you get tannery tools?
I think we need to like steal some money or make some money because I'm broke.
We're not supposed to say that in front of the NPCs. I mean, in front of
I
these
say
nice farmers.
quietly.
He looks up and he says, this boar is worth quite a bit of money. I don't think you'll have to worry about room and board. Unless you use the whole thing for yourself.
I think we should sell it. Otherwise, we won't be sleeping on a bed pretty soon.
Alright, but we're keeping a tenderloin for me.
Alright.
Don't give me your guff, Thugrin. This is about revenge.
Sometimes it's the boar, and sometimes the boar it's you.
Yep, this time the boar didn't et me, so I et the boar.
I mean, it can't break lows for both of us, I think.
Yeah, I'll split it with you.
Fine, as long as you eat the whole thing, waste not, want not. 'Tis the circle of life. In the meantime, if we're in need of coin, I can practice my healing arts on the people of this poor village. Try to hire out my services as a healer to those who need healing. See if I can make us some coin.
Sure.
I'd like to. If we're devoting time to downtime, try to practice a profession, as it were.
Are we?
That would be a lore check.
No.
Oh, well,
I think there's still 2 leads
Lore.
Well, we still have
that we haven't checked yet.
the.
Well, possibly more if
We also have we have the witch's hut.
Right.
Was that one of the 2 leads?
No. I wasn't counting leaps. We still need to find Fennec, see if he saw anything, and also we haven't talked to Flunk. The bard.
Who is Fennec?
Fennec is the goblin.
Goblin.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I couldn't find him because I spelled with an F.
Yeah, not like a fox. PH.
So do we know where they are?
Don't know where Fennec is. I don't think that anyone knows where Fennec is. But Flunk should be
So,
able to find.
last night when I couldn't
Right.
sleep, Flunk was playing at the inn. So we could probably find him if we wait for nightfall.
But where did Fennec go?
Sorry.
I don't remember seeing him, but he works
He went
at
into the kitchen, and then we never saw him again.
Maybe you should track down the goblin friend.
Maybe Delma knows where he lives.
That's
We've
what
already talked to Delma about it, and
She did not.
no.
Oh.
Apparently he's something of a drifter.
Well, do you think he maybe lives in one of these empty houses?
Quite
There's
possible.
an awful lot of them.
But we should probably go back to the feed mill first.
What time of day is it?
At this point, it's probably 11 a.m.
do
You've
have
taken some.
time to check out that old house in the woods.
Actually, no.
Aye,
Yeah, 11 a.m.
that house. That's right. Aviana has the right of it. We need to go to that spooky old house. There's much evil lurking in there. I can feel it in my bones.
You don't know if there's any evil.
Are you sure you're
I
not
know
just
there's
sick with
evil.
something? You feel a lot of things in your bones.
Don't accuse me of being sick. I've taken the most precautions out of all of us. I'm keeping distant. I have a mask. I'm not
You're
getting
socially
sick.
distant.
I'm not getting sick no matter what. It's you
Well,
that
just
have
try
had
and
cookie
strange
stew.
waters.
Aye, it's you that have had the stew and eaten of the animals. It's you that will be getting sick, not I. But let's go to the former residence of Silwith. Henceforth now.
Speaking of not being sick, can you help me with this wound that I have? That I got because I was trying to befriend your boar.
I can try.
I mean, according to the internet, I need to have somebody treat wounds on me.
I can do a treat wounds as we're going along, I suppose. Let's see. 10 minutes. I do have healer's
It-
tools.
Yeah, it takes 10 minutes.
Me too.
You'll have to stop for 10 minutes.
Alright. Yeah, I guess we'll probably... Before we leave Tren's house, kind of on the outskirts, in case we run across trouble in town, Thugr will pull out his stuff.
I mean, we could do it at the feed mill if you don't want to do it here, or we could just do it like in their living room. I feel like more they owe us a favor.
Yeah.
Well, I should do it sooner rather than later so you don't bleed out and leave a trail for more animals to come and hunt you down and finish the job. So I'll get out my healer's tools and first do Lina, because she asked first. Try to medicine check on Lina to treat wounds.
So you're doing this at Trent's house.
Yes.
Okay.
Treat
And while he's
wounds.
doing that, I will prepare my shield.
Yeah, so just roll your medicine checks.
So this is for Lina. 20.
Okay.
Healing
Crafting for the shield. Shit.
Oh no. I can fix that too. Give me a moment, lad. I've got tools for that too.
So that was a success or a critical success?
20 is a success. DC 15.
Yep, so what is it? The success
Two-
is
2d8.
2d8. I'll roll that because I healed you. 11.
Nice. I was only down 8,
Okay.
and I am not wounded.
Then I'll go over to Ardor and start fixing up his body and then turn to fix his shield. So treat wounds on Ardor. Medicine check.
Fix the body first, then the shield.
Oh, 11.
An 11 is a failure, but you waste the time, and you can't do it again you can't attempt it on him again for an hour.
Ah, beans. Sorry, lad, your wounds, they go pretty deep.
That's fine. I'll take care of it. And I'll lay on hands on myself.
There you go. So that's 20 minutes.
Let me see that shield, because I got a repair kit. Because you see, Thugr has his own wooden shield that seems to have been repaired many times over.
Yeah,
So,
sure. I didn't have much luck with it. Here.
Alright, I'll try. Here we go with my crafting check. 16.
And while he's
Us.
doing that, I'll refocus.
A 16 is good enough. It's a level, 1 item, or it's like DC 14, I think?
Yeah.
For a level 0 item? Yeah.
Alright. I restore 5 plus 5 per proficiency rank in crafting, so 10 if you're trained, so your shield gets 10 hit points back. A little bit easier to fix a shield than a person. Dong, 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 hammer out the dents.
So that's 30 minutes.
Alright. It's 11:30 now, we must be going.
No, it's practically lunchtime.
Are we gonna have to stop for lunch before we go to the spooky house?
I mean, you don't want to go to the haunted house on an empty stomach.
I agree.
Fine, we'll go by the feed mill first and get lunch, and then we'll go to the house. So they're gonna lens and go to frickin'.
The general store, is it near the feed mill?
It is in the feed mill.
Oh, it's in the feed mill.
It is, yeah. Delma runs it. She mentioned briefly to you
Oh, right.
that she runs the general store,
Does
essentially.
she have steel shields?
It's a level 0 item. Yeah, sure. Or a level 1 item. Yeah, she'd have that.
Great. I would like to buy one. Hold on. How much do they cost? 2 GP? Okay, that's not going to cut it.
We have to sell the boar.
Never mind.
You arrive at the feed mill.
Alright, I'd stay outside with Oakenclaw. Alright, hurry up and get your lunch. On a tight schedule, you get an hour, then we're going to the house.
I'm getting the cookie stew.
Cookie
From
has
the
stew.
caravan.
Cookie
Yes.
will give you stew.
Excellent. Same. Samesies.
That's what I'm gonna eat. I'm not touching turnips.
Yeah, the
Yeah, but have you tried rosemary?
I don't know about that.
No.
Just watch out for anything that smells floral.
As you are eating, Edra approaches you, and she tells you that Delma was looking for you.
Oh, okay.
She said, Delma told me to tell you anytime, or to tell you to go see her if you came back anytime soon. So I'm telling you to go see her since you came back anytime soon. She nods.
We should go talk to her.
All right.
Are you on the feed mill map? You should be on the feed mill
Yes.
map.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, Delma's behind the bar.
She is. So Delma is there, and you see that the two most drinkingest people in this town are there already drinking at 11 a.m.
How is Delma there? We just left her house.
That's Trent.
Trent.
We just left Trent's house.
Oh, there's two of them. They look. I'm sorry. Oh, God.
Tigran thinks all humans look
Oh,
alike.
humans. Oh,
To be fair, they do look similar.
I'm so sorry. I'm so embarrassed. Ugh.
They both have very square foreheads.
Delma is one who doesn't have the scar on her face.
I see.
Yep.
I understand.
Delma. Tren.
I realize my terrible mistake now. I'm sorry I called Trin a doppelganger.
Also,
Is that why you thought she was a doppelganger?
Yes. I thought Trin was Delma and vice versa.
I really need to be better about showing you their character portraits whenever you see them.
That's
Also,
on me.
so as I mentioned, this guy is drinking. That's Lauren Krent. And then Farmer Elam is also drinking.
That was the guy who started the fight, right?
That is the guy who started the fight.
I think Farmer Elam is definitely the one who did it, right? I mean, look at that shady fucker. Like, I'm looking out the window, like inside, and pointing at Farmer Elam, like this is the one who did it.
can we even hear you?
No, I'm probably outside
Okay,
talking
I'm
to
like-
myself.
He's talking to Oakenclaw.
You look
So
out the
Delma
window
points
and
to
you
you.
look insane.
Yeah.
Delmo looks at the rest of you and says, "Ah, you're back. Great. I have a friend who came into town while you were gone, and she would like to meet with you."
Really? Okay.
A friend?
Her name is Noala. She's a bit of she's a bit of a protector of of our town. She's been here, well, most of my life, and I think you should listen to her, and I think you should take your dwarf friend with you when you talk to her.
What's the equivalent of sense motive in this game?
It is a perception check. It is a secret perception check. So I can roll that for you if you would like.
I want to secretly perceive her. Wait. I want to know if she's telling me the truth, because this sounds very suspicious.
Okay. She seems to be choosing her words carefully. But it seems more like she's trying not to spook you. Like she wants you to believe that this is an okay person for you to be talking to. Like maybe you wouldn't think that for some reason.
I mean, the only reason I wouldn't think that is because of how suspicious he's being.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, your dad gave us a lot of exposition yesterday, and he never mentioned Nawala.
Well, he wouldn't. Well, let's see. Can I count? 1, she's an elf. 2, she's a bit of an outsider. 3, she's kind of a nature type outsider. And 4, they also personally don't see eye to eye. She has helped this town on more than one occasion, and sometimes it seems like I'm the only one who appreciates it. Bit of a terrain stalker, if you know what I mean.
Sorry, my computer prevented me from hearing bullet point 1 and 3.
Bullet point 1 was she's an elf.
Okay.
And bullet points 3 through the rest of them is basically she's not from here.
Oh.
Okay. Sorry, my computer, again, I can't hear dialogue every couple of seconds, every 10 seconds.
She also personally doesn't get along with the mayor.
Yeah, I know from personal experience how hard it can be to get along with those wilderness types.
She says, I thought you might, and she gives a meaningful look toward the window. She's just outside and a bit to the east, just past the stables.
All right, well, go see her.
All right, let's do it.
Okay. Be back on Etron's Folly.
Where's she at?
Yeah, so she's basically just like here, or just to the east. As you sort of pass the stables, a woman shrouded in a heavy brown cloak trimmed with leaves marches up to you, pulling a simple wooden sledge behind her. As she approaches, she brings the sledge to one side and uncovers her cargo, which is the corpse of a wolf, and she uses the covering to pick up a charred wolf skull and just drop it down on the grass in front of her. She turns to you, and despite having her cloak's hood pulled low, you can make out weathered lips and a slender chin. In a pointed chin, she asks, "Is this your work?"
I We came upon these corrupted beasts on our way into town. Ever since then, I felt a foul corruption around. Do you know what is going on here?
She says, it's not safe to talk about it here, but we should go outside of town and burn this last one I found. And I'll tell you more about it there. I don't want to discuss it here with civilians.
Finally, someone thinking rationally and making some sense around here. Come, lads, let's follow her. And that Thugrin marches off to the forefront with Oakenclaw, immediately following this person with no further questions asked.
Does she look like she needs help carrying the dead wolf?
So she's pulling just a sledge behind her. You could,
Oh, like a sleigh.
yeah.
Okay.
So
I was thinking of like a
she-
giant hammer, which was kind of confusing.
That's what I thought. That's what I thought too.
She seems to be pulling it
Big.
pretty effortlessly.
Okay.
And she's going to lead you actually to the west. I may have said east, but it's definitely to the west because that's where all the...
East, west, makes no matter.
She's going to head this direction, or are you all going to follow her?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
So,
Immediately.
as you follow her, she says, I'm a bit of a... Well, I don't live here, but... This town is... I think this town is in a bit of danger.
We're inclined to agree.
Aye.
I mean, do you mean beyond the murder and the boar attack and the murder hornets?
Well, listen, I think that 2 out of those 3 things are just natural phenomena.
She says, you can't be too careful. God, I can't get her accent. You can't be too careful with the wildlife around here. It's dangerous. So she's going to lead you. Well, she won't go that way because there's no bridge. So she goes this way, kind of up into the woods, and follows a little bit of a path into a clearing. We'll say this is the clearing.
Oh, alright.
And she begins to build a fire pit.
I will assist her when the time is right with Produce Flame.
Alrighty, so she builds a fire, and just sort of sets this last corpse on fire. And she says, I've been here for many years. I fought in the Goblin Blood Wars, and after that, I came here to, well, I protect this town from the stuff that's outside. And recently, well, recently for me, you see, and she kind of looks at Lyra, and she, at this point, she kind of maybe realizes that she still has her hood down, and she says, I think introductions are actually in order. She pulls back her hood, and you can see that she is an elf.
Ooh.
As promised. My name's Noala Kesria. I'm well, they called me a ranger in the war. I guess that's still true.
Ah, Ranger. I'm Thugrin of Clan Barkbiter. I am a druid of the wood, and this ferocious beast is Oakenclaw.
She pets Oakenclaw.
Oakenclaw is
Says-
head.
Cute little fella.
Indeed he is. He's growing to grow to be fearsome, though. Just you wait. Oh, and I suppose there are others here, but, you know, we can do the introduction if you want.
She nods and looks at the rest of you expectantly.
I introduce myself. I say I'm Lyra. I am a... I have interesting work that I don't care to explain too much about.
She nods.
Ooh,
Fair.
spooky.
Fair enough.
Spooky.
Spooky.
Well, I'll come up and go to shake her hand and say, I'm Ruckus of the Chitter Skull tribe. Maybe you've heard of my people.
She, Chitta Skull. I don't think your people. Did your people take part in the war?
That's a long story. Maybe something best served with a good meal.
She says,
Uh,
"Well, little
So
goblin,
that would be a yes.
I carry no ill will toward you or your kind. Don't worry about it. The stories I could tell about the courage of goblins. And you," and she looks at Lena.
I am Lena, and I'm a halfling. I feel like that was kind of obvious, though.
I did notice, yes. You have a very large sword.
Yes, I do.
And she turns to Arter.
Arter, Knight of Level.
And the last, she looks at Aviana.
I'm Aviana, a sewer of knowledge, and we'll leave it at that.
She says, "Very good." And then she sort of turns back toward the wolves, the burning wolf corpse, and gestures. And you notice, maybe you notice this on the walk here, that she avoids the use of her right hand, but when she gestures with it, you see that it's entirely covered in this odd-shaped leather gauntlet. And she says, "These wolves aren't the first, and I'm afraid they won't be the last. Worse still," and she grunts and just sort of like kicks at the body. The forest itself is turning sour. Plants and trees are withering, bearing bitter fruit that sickens and kills those who eat it. If you've been out to the old orchard, you'd have seen it. The blight is growing, and I think I need your help to stop it. I can't do it myself.
Aye, we're the ones. We're the ones you need. I've been called here.
But what could we possibly do to stop a natural or unnatural blight?
We can burn it.
She says,
Yes, I don't know.
I had been tracking these wolves for days. I know where they came from. My proposition is, I take you there, you do a bit of exploring. Although I understand you're in a bit of a pickle, what with a murder. Maybe you come back to it after that, after you're done with your investigating, and we can figure out what's happening. These townsfolk, I think Delma believes me, but I think it's pretty clear that the rest of the folk here in this town, they know way down deep, they know, they can feel it, something's wrong. Every year they sell less grain, the fruit comes less, the whole orchard is useless, the fruit, the apples are rotten as soon as they come in.
So this has been happening for a while, you think?
It's been happening for years, and they just explain it away. Oh, a boar died upstream and rotted, and that's what's happening.
Shit.
Too short-lived. And she kind of looks at Thugrin and looks at Lyra. apologies to most of you, but us folk who live longer we can connect the strings a bit more than when you're, well,
When you're going to die sooner. Like you
Sort of.
humans. You humans are gonna
Sort
die
of not.
sooner. Let's not mince words here. But there's something important. Aye, we do have to investigate what happened to Bort, my clansmen. But soon, if you have a lead, if you need our help, just come calling. We'll run to the case for the safety of the village. We'll root out the corruption.
She says, when you're done with this investigation you're doing, you come find me. I'll be here. You can find me here. And in the meantime, if you need, I can't say I can offer much in the way of training or much in the way of gold, but if you have need for some training, some of you, maybe one of you, I can help with that. And actually, Lyra, when you level up, when you take ranger feats, you now have access to 2 uncommon ranger feats that you can learn specifically from Nuala.
Sweet.
Cool.
Rangers
I will
stick
show you.
together.
Yeah, I will show you those.
I want to ask her, so you don't live in town, but you keep an eye on it?
Make sure that the town stays in town, and the dangers of the town stay in town, and the dangers of the wild stay in the wild.
Okay.
How long had Fort been selling reagents to customer?
You have this information, so I'm going to look it up. I think it's actually probably going to be faster for me to find in the paper book. Let's see. Fort's books. 22 times in the past 10 years he visited Etrin's Folly. He's been delivering reagents for about 5 years.
And how long has the orchard been cursed? That would be
She
a question
says,
for...
well, it's a slow process. It's hard to put a precise time on it. It's been 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, 6 years, something along those lines. Maybe even as long as 10, but I don't think 10 years. At first, even I didn't notice it. It surely started before the first time that I saw it.
I'm worried that these 2 things are the murder and the blight are not unrelated.
Did she say that the first time she noticed it was in the orchard, or has she said that yet?
The orchard is the most obvious manifestation. The whole thing is rotten. But you ask any farmer what they brought up last year and what they brought up the year before and the year before and the year before, and Delma will confirm this. She buys much of their grain and sells it to the traders. It's been less every year. Now, what's this about the death being related? That sounds very strange.
We found out that Bort has been, every time he comes to town, he sells a large amount of unlisted reagents to someone who's only referred to as customer. We think that is likely something to do with his death.
I think that That seems like an unlikely coincidence. You know, I think that finding the cause of the blight might help track down the person behind the death, or the other way around.
It is a big world, and two tragedies so close together at the same time does seem unlikely.
It is true that they could be connected. I mean, it is possible that those same reagents that were sold had something to do with what's going on now. Maybe a side effect of, or the intention.
Which would be a good reason to kill off a supplier.
It's possible that
Very suspicious.
It's possible that if we go and find the source, we may find some more clues as to who it could be, rather than, you know. I feel like these townspeople are just telling us what they think we want to hear, and we're not really getting anywhere. I have other tactics that I could use, but probably don't want to.
Don't start killing people.
I didn't say kill.
Don't start torturing people.
And I will remind you that Rolf did tell you explicitly not to leave town. Whether you want to leave town despite that is entirely up to you. But if you did not forget that, he did say not to leave town.
Does leaving town, so, looking into this, does that mean that we're leaving town?
Noala says, yes, we would have to take most of a day's journey out of town. We'd have to leave at dawn.
Well, also, where is this, where is he? Because I have only seen him once this whole entire time. So
who's he?
Rolf.
She says, I'm not familiar with where his residence is. You should probably ask Delma.
Delma would know.
She might know.
And I'll handle Rolf. We have a rapport.
So,
Great.
I guess we'll just go on our journey to go investigate. What? Tomorrow? In 2 days? 3 days?
Tomorrow.
So are we going to the hut now, since it's right across the road?
It is conveniently nearby.
Yeah.
And she says, I should stay here and watch the fire.
You tend to that. We'll tend to a spooky house.
So you go over to the... you try and make your way over to this... try and find the house. I think it's going to be survival checks for anybody who wants to make them.
I do.
I do.
Survival. 15.
24.
And critical success. Okay, so Lyra, more so than Thugrin, is able to actually, before too long, find what must have been a footpath. It is very overgrown. Years and years have passed since this was used. But you make your way into the woods and eventually come on what is kind of a clearing, or at least was a clearing several, years and years ago. A decade, 2 decades, maybe. It actually looks like it's probably closer to 2 decades. But there are the remains of a structure of some kind.
Detect magic around the area.
Sure. You detect magic and you sense no unexpected magic.
Start.
Is it
Is there,
just like the
like-
foundation, or what's left of the structure?
So it's like sort of mostly collapsed.
I
There
would like
isn't-
to try and go inside.
Walls? Is
Okay.
there like furnishings inside the building?
Are there what inside the building?
Furnishings.
So the building itself is mostly collapsed. You could spend some time searching through it if you want, and everyone could make perception checks. So you would, I think I'm going to need, people will need to make athletics checks to move the debris around, because there really isn't a door. What was the doorway is totally collapsed. This is not something you can just walk inside. So somebody will need to make athletics checks to start moving stuff around, and then you can make perception checks to investigate the area.
I will do that.
Investigate.
I'll also help move stuff around. Well, or not, because I'm rolling horribly.
Well, you found the place.
Apparently, Aviana is really cool.
I like drop it on my toe.
So this takes most of the afternoon and actually goes into the evening. Did everybody make a perception?
Oh, whoops.
Oh, I
Because
didn't.
you can do both.
I will also
Excellent.
perceive.
I'll give you a. Yeah. Okay. So you start looking through this, and it is clearly an abandoned home. There are remnants that you find of what was clearly a bed, what was clearly pieces of a table, and things along those lines. But after a significant amount of searching, Arter, you find an intact small vial. It's empty.
Okay.
It is a vial with a stopper. And it was in between a couple of pieces of wood, and stuff just happened to collapse around it.
Is it?
It's stopped and it's empty, supposedly.
Yep.
I'll shake it.
It seems empty.
I will.
You should.
I will
You should
read
smell it.
the vial's aura.
It is not magical.
Okay.
Would like a minor healing potion be in a vial such as this, or what?
Yeah, it's
Or
Yeah,
a
like-
reagent.
a healing potion or
Yeah.
something along those lines.
Ooh, does it have any smell inside?
Like covered in dust? When?
Yeah, I mean, so you make a perception check if you smell it. If you're gonna.
I'm gonna smell it.
Does Lena pass
Yeah.
out?
Yeah, so the scent, if any, is very faint. It's there's no way you can really tell what was in here. It wasn't, I mean, you get the idea, like, it wasn't full of perfume, because even after 10 or 20 years with a stopper, that would still smell like perfume. Yeah, it's an empty vial.
Weird.
And
I'll
it's
set
not
it.
like, yeah, it's not like tiny vial, where,
Well, like, how many ounces would it be if it was full, and it was water?
probably 3-4 ounces.
Okay.
I'll leave it.
and you find nothing else of particular interest.
All right.
This was a bust. Was hoping this was connected to the darkness. Some witch's hut or something.
Well, it seems like tomorrow we'll
Oh, I
probably
forgot about the
find some more
cauldron!
things.
Oh, I should have mentioned the cauldron.
And the broomstick and the...
And the
the
cauldron's
candle.
still bubbling. Years and years later.
All the frog legs flying around.
And the black cat that's just kind of living here.
Fine. We'll do what you say, Lyra, since you're so smart and capable.
What did I... All I said was that tomorrow we're going to go explore and figure out, and maybe it will be connected to this.
If I...
Speaking of, we should head back to town.
Unfortunately, I think that is the best plan.
Maybe we can find the bard.
Mm-hmm.
Flunk.
So yeah, we'll head back to town. To the
Alrighty.
feed mill.
Feel free to move your token. You should all be able to access it. Ding.
How?
I still see the map.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, he meant like
I meant
our little...
the party token.
Yeah, our little
Oh,
marker.
okay.
We can move. Like, theoretically, they could say, no, we're going in the river. And we're in the river now.
Oh, that one. Okay. I was like, what? Now I understand.
And at this point, there is dinner happening
Yes.
once again. Flonk the Bard is playing badly. Colneral is serving some of these farmers around, so they're not exactly where they were last time.
No, those are their assigned seats.
Lauren has moved over here, and Farmer Elam is with these guys. So there is music,
Farmer
and there is-
Elam behaving himself.
and there is food. Yeah, he is intoxicated, but he seems to be. He's not punching anybody, which is an improvement from the last time you saw him eating food.
It's true.
Delma is serving drinks, and as you come back in, she says, I thought it was about time we start feeding again. I know you have all searched the kitchen and found what you need, so I took the liberty of going ahead and restarting dinner. Amora's not too happy about it, but she's cooking.
Trent said that she was feeling better and she'll be back to work in a few more days.
Ah, very good. It's quite hectic without her or Finnick. You know, it's
Yes.
strange that I haven't seen
Still
him.
haven't seen him, huh?
No, and it's not
Mm.
it's not strange for him to run when there's a fight. When there's a fight in this town and there's a goblin either underfoot or just an intoxicated person who fought in the Goblin Blood Wars, Finnick becomes a target. So I don't blame him for leaving at the first sign of trouble.
Well,
But
I
it
hope
is
he
strange
didn't run
that
into
he-
more trouble.
He always does come back. I hope he is okay.
I hope that rude customer didn't give him a hard time. He was suspiciously missing from the fight night.
Mm.
She kind of thinks. Who was the rude customer? You mean Elam? He's right here.
Halid.
Talk to him. Ah, Halid. Well, he's He doesn't frequent us very often. He'll come sometimes for food or for some drinks, and well, he's not any particularly meaner to Finnick than he is to anyone else. Hell, it's just an impolite man. But he's never shorted me on food or on drinks. Doesn't start fights, so it's not worth making a ruckus about.
He's just a dick.
He is.
That's nice to hear. Can you tell me where to find Rolf? I need to talk to him.
Sure, and she gives you directions to Rolf's house.
Okay. I appreciate it.
Where does Finnick normally sleep at night?
She says, I'm not really sure. He's here. Maybe he's here half the time. He doesn't really talk about it. I don't know that settling down is really his thing. I do pay him, of course, and he makes enough to rent a room at least, or there are plenty of houses he could fix up if he had a mind to, but I just think that's not what he wants, I suppose.
Surely he must have some place where he keeps his money. Because I doubt he's spending it as quickly as he's earning it.
I can
He's
tell
getting
you,
everything very expensive.
I can tell you for sure he's not. Most things he would buy back from me, and no, he makes more than he spends, unless he's collecting horseshoes or something.
Well, there was one person he could be buying things from. That's not you. But he's dead now.
She just sort of grimaces a little bit. As you are talking, Lauren Krent sort of stands up, then starts to look at you, Arter, and then starts to walk very drunkenly.
All right.
Gotta start another fight.
Can I help you?
He comes up to you, and just give me a second to find this. It's in a weird place on Roll20. He looks at you, Arter, with wide, bloodshot eyes, and he says, "Talmor, my old friend, you have to help me. I think his minions have followed us here. I seen them. They're coming."
All right. Why don't you have a seat and calm down and tell me about it?
He just kind of stumbles over to this. Oh no, there's a chair next to you. So he just sort of sits down, and he says, "I think they're here. And he leans in and he whispers to you, "The servants of the Whispering Tyrant." Did that go through the microphone?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Servants
Yes,
of the
it did.
Whispering Tyrant. Yeah, it sure did.
I'm like not. Could I have heard that from where I'm sitting at the other table?
You're going to need to make a perception check. Anybody other than Arter is going to need to make a perception check if they would like to have heard this, even very drunk person.
Outside.
Okay, so Lena hears him.
I don't think.
And Aviana hears him.
No,
I could read lips of
I'm
drunk people.
like not looking. I'm like looking
I have
at
a
the
beer.
table, but I just roll my eyes. just because
Just because.
this is, just some drunken man talking about some absurdly named cult or something like that they have potentially made up. So I'm just gonna roll my eyes and get back to whatever I was doing.
So he puts his hand on your shoulder, Arter, and he says, "We just maybe we should just run. Maybe we should go. They're here. I've seen them with my own eyes."
Don't be hasty. Don't be hasty, Lauren. Tell me what you saw.
There's in look we we had so many good times, don't you remember? And he just kind of goes off on stories from his time fighting the servants of the Whispering Tyrant, his time as a knight of Lastwall. And it is clear to you that in all of these stories, I mean, he keeps calling you Talmor, whoever that is, and he keeps expecting you to laugh or to finish what happened when he stabbed one ghoul and but he just kind of doesn't notice when you don't finish, and he doesn't really answer your query either.
Right.
Through this, he sort of peppers in. He says the enemies are here, and he needs your help, either defeating them or everyone should get out. And eventually says, I know where they're hiding, Talmor. There's an old farmhouse that it was when I came to town. It was the first place I slept in, and I don't go there anymore because they're there.
Don't you worry, Lauren. I've come with adventurers. We're going to save the town.
He says he just sort of he reaches for something and just touches his shirt and says, "Do you promise?"
Yes.
And then he just picks up his drink and he goes back to drinking heavily.
Huh.
I stopped paying attention to that conversation. Like, my character stopped paying attention to that conversation halfway through.
And he did describe to you where this house was.
Okay.
I yell from outside, "What was all that about?"
Don't worry about it.
Alright. I go back.
Lauren, I want you to take it easy tonight. Get a good night's rest.
He just nods and says, with the nightmares, I haven't had a good night's rest since I came here, but I'll try."
Thank you. Are any of the other party members gawking at me or anything?
Maybe, yeah, I think so. I'll
I'm
be gawking at you.
Oh,
trying to pretend that I wasn't eavesdropping. Here, let's
think
see how well I do.
I don't think my character was trying very. I think Ruckus was being pretty obvious about whoa,
Ah.
what is going on?
I'll turn to Ruckus and I'll whisper through gritted teeth. Talk to the bard.
Okay. Ruckus will go over to our horrible bard friend. Hey,
So-
hey, you.
He is playing badly. And he sort of looks at you, kind of probably disdainfully, and he says, "I'm playing. I'm playing."
Yes, I can hear that. I am so inspired. I was wondering if I could play with you.
He kind of looks at you and says, "What do you play?"
The rattle.
Rattle, huh? Make a diplomacy check for me.
Don't you need a beat? Diplomacy. Boop.
A 16. He'll look at you, he'll look at your rattles and say, "I guess I can use a backup player."
Yeah. Here, just let me get set up with this very complicated rattle.
So he launches into a song that you have heard before. You seem to have heard all of his songs, all 6 of them.
Yeah, after this song, I'll be like, "Hey, do you want to get? Thanks for letting me join you. Can I buy you a drink? Maybe ask you about your technique. I could learn from you."
So he, after the song's over, he says, "I guess I can take a break if you're buying me a drink.
Yeah.
I'm
Here,
up for that."
yeah, I want to know all about your performances. Like that night when there was the big brawl. How did you maintain your concentration?
Straight to the point.
So he
For example.
he says, "The night of the brawl. Oh, and the night that poor dwarf kicked it." He says, alphabetically, Elam Flunk. He says, "Well, I was drinking and I was performing and I swear I saw somebody just right before he started choking, just like sneaking up behind him with this sneaky packet of something, and he dropped it in the bowl, and it wasn't but a couple minutes later that he died."
Really? What kind of sneaky, mysterious
Damn.
person?
It was a dwarf.
Dwarf?
A dwarf.
Mm.
Another dwarf.
Not a
But he
wild
had
nature-looking
green
dwarf.
hair. I was really drunk.
I see. And where did he go after he snuck up on this other dwarf?
I don't know. But that's what I saw.
Really? Well, I guess nothing escapes your keen eyes. You clearly have the best of senses.
Nothing ever does. Especially when I'm drunk and performing.
Yes. And so you didn't see where this dwarf came from or went? He just had green
Uh,
hair?
Probably from a door. But I didn't see.
I see.
I was paying attention to my fine instrument and my fine songs.
Well, you're a knowledgeable person of these realms based off of your music. How many green-haired dwarves do you know in the vicinity? Can't be that many.
Roughly 0. Probably came with you lot.
Oh,
Thugrin's outside petting Oakenclaw calmly.
well, thanks for the tips. Very helpful. Gotta go. I'm
Okay,
gonna
bye. Let me
go
know
over-
if you need an apprenticeship or something. I'm very generous with my terms.
Ugh.
Woof.
Oh, okay. I'll pull on Aviana's bottom of her cloak and maybe try and get Arter's attention. Get my party together at the table. And
Okay.
and then
Did you-
I'll tell them that I spoke to the bard and he saw someone sneak up on our friend and looking very suspicious. But I don't know if we can trust this bard's account. It doesn't make any sense.
What
He
did
said
he
it
say?
was a
exactly?
green-haired dwarf, and not from town. I think he might have been hitting that
Gonna look out the window.
sludge too hard.
Thurkin's hair isn't green, right? Like it's probably got a lot of
no.
moss in it, I assume.
Yeah,
but-
it's got some plants woven in there. So you may mistake it for green if you're doing a quick look, but you know, it's probably grayish red.
I think your bard friend is about as good a witness as he is a musician.
Hmm. Yeah, it doesn't sound like a very good lead.
Or he's lying and he's the murderer. He's just trying to throw us off the trail.
Hmm.
But he would have made a more believable story if that was the case. I think he's just dumb.
I don't suppose there's any way that something else could get confused for a green-haired dwarf.
A doppelganger?
You people and your doppelgangers. Oh, he's so cute.
Flonk.
Well, yeah, it would make sense that maybe someone short would be able to sneak by all of the commotion. You tall people really stand out.
We sure do.
Unless you're sneaky.
Well, we haven't really gained much information from here, unfortunately. I think
I don't
another
think-
dead end.
Yeah, I don't think Thugrin had enough time to be sneaky. I don't really think it's his forte.
He doesn't seem very sneaky to me.
He also doesn't seem like a poison-y kind of person. I think if he wanted to kill Bort, he would have done it differently.
Hmm.
Listen, I'm gonna go talk to Rolf. Tell him that we're going to be leaving town, but not too far. If the rest of you want to do something useful, I would suggest trying to find Finnick.
You cut out for a second. Who did you say?
Finnick.
Try to find Finnick.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how productive that'll be. Um,
I mean, he is the only
Finding
witness
him.
we haven't talked to.
finding him,
He-
I mean.
Well, it's going to be very difficult to find him. Maybe we had like someone who is really good at tracking.
Or maybe
What,
even a couple
track?
of people.
Track a small creature 3 days ago.
Well, I said really good at tracking.
Sounds like a job for a ranger.
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry, it keeps like cutting it in and out in certain things.
Track the goblin. Track 3-day-old tracks from the little goblin.
I can
Yeah.
track the
Well,
goblin.
before we break up, I do want to ask Delma, like, how many of the stout folk, halflings, dwarves, other short people, live in the vicinity of the village?
Delma consults the
Delma-
entry for
Delma
the
don't
town.
Veterans
yeah.
Almanac.
Is it in the front? It's
Don't know.
definitely. Oh, maybe it's just a. I thought they had a location entry for it, because I'm pretty sure I vaguely know. Yeah, it's not quite in the same format. So she says that, well, the folks here are mostly human. There's a few halflings, a couple of half-elves. That's about it. We've got one goblin, which is about all. It's a miracle my father hasn't run him out of town already. Mostly humans.
Definitely nobody with green hair, eh?
No gnomes that I know of.
Gnomes.
Not
Interesting.
nearby. Plus Noala.
Well, thank you. I'll hop back off the stool and over to my group.
She nods.
All right. So are you going to go look for him?
Yes, we can. I can use. Can I use my hunt prey? Am I able to do that? Or
No,
how's that
you would have had you have to be able to see him.
You have to be tracking them, or be able to see them.
But we
Yeah.
are tracking them.
You must be tracking the prey during. Yeah, see or hear or must be tracking.
Yeah, so I think you need to successfully find his tracks then.
Okay.
All right. I would suggest checking or trying the north part of town. Once I'm done talking to Rolf, I'll try and find you.
So you are, Lyra, how do you want to go about this?
Well, I will. Yeah, I'll go towards the north part of town, and I guess just be looking. It'd be a survival checks.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And I guess just looking for.
And it is also nighttime, is worth pointing out.
Okay. All right. Am I able to get like assistance on this, or like if someone else is good at survival as well, or does it?
Yeah, other people can roll individually, or they can attempt to assist you, but the DC is going to be 20 for them to do that.
And isn't if they fail or something, isn't that an issue?
If they critically fail,
Okay.
they penalize you.
Okay.
Thugrin will help you in your tracking efforts.
Well, I've tracked people before, so I probably, pay attention to the size of people's feet and kind of, what they're wearing just naturally. So I'll try and see, if I can spot like his gait and like the type of footprints he would be making, and I don't know.
And also, since the north part of town is mostly abandoned, if there probably wouldn't be much foot traffic, so fresh prints would probably stick out a bit more.
And do I have anything that makes light?
I will produce a flame to guide your tracking efforts by firelight.
Okay.
Can more than one person aid?
I know, it would be a circumstance bonus so they don't stack.
Okay.
Avion's probably staying in a hotel room. He thinks this is a wild goose chase.
I'm gonna come on this wild goose chase. And
Yeah,
off
wow,
the
goose
building,
chases are the
trying to
best.
find
I'm gonna make my own attempt at finding these tracks.
That's weird. I heard Ross in your headphones, but I could not hear him in mine at all.
So Thugrin, do you have light or something like that? Or are you going
I
to
don't.
use produce flame to light a torch?
Yeah, I think I can do that because produce.
If anybody bought an adventurers pack, they would have torches.
I have torches.
Alternatively, Delma has torches that she can sell. They are not very expensive.
Hey, some of us can see in the dark.
Yeah, I can too, so that's why I don't typically have them. But I can light a torch with my produce flame. So I have dark vision.
I don't think I do.
Oh, I didn't get any torches because I was like, I can see in the dark. Whatever.
No, elves have to take a feat to have dark vision.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
And you're...
I have an adventurer's pack.
So you can whip out a torch.
Oh, you should have torches.
Yeah.
If it's just listed as adventurer's pack, there's a bunch of stuff that goes in that, so you have torches.
Yeah. I'll whip out a torch.
Alrighty. So you head up toward. So you're head. So let's see. Lyra, Lena, and Thugrin are going tracking. Ardor is going to talk to the sheriff. Aviana is sulking. Aviana is studying. What's Ruckus doing?
Oh, I'm gonna go on the wild goose chase. That
Okay.
sounds fun.
Excellent.
Yay!
I'm gonna pick randomly here. 2. So, Aviana, you are in your room studying, or whatever it is you do with your book. Maybe you're just reading. What are you doing? I will ask you.
What are you doing alone in your hotel room?
Yeah, no, I have this theory that I'm trying to kind of flesh out, trying to write basically like a thesis. I have a book that I'm carrying with me that has some details on something I'm trying to like follow up on.
Go over to your Discord.
Trying to consider like, oh, the fundamentals of magic, how magic like
Right,
manifests
okay.
itself, and where it comes from.
Okay. So you are working on this, and you're not sure exactly how much time passes, but eventually you hear a knock at your door. Boom, boom, boom.
Yes. Who is it?
You hear from outside of the door, "It's Edra. I have something for you.
Sorry, I didn't catch the first part of that sentence.
It's Edra. I have something for you."
So I'm gonna try to remember where I am in the book and get up and go over to the door, and I guess I'll open it.
You open the door, and there is Edra. And she is holding in her hand a gun. She shoots you. I was the murderer. No.
Wow.
Wow, I did not see that one.
I catch the bullet and throw it back to her.
Wow.
I am trying to find where this is. She is holding in her hand a vial. And she hands it to you. And she says, "I found this out in the yard. It was just outside the barn. This is not one of ours, and I know you're investigating what happened to Board, and well, I thought it might be related, so I wanted to give it to you." So she hands it over to you and says, "I'll be downstairs if you need anything, but it was just on the ground. I don't know what else there really is to tell you."
I thank you for the assistance. I'm not sure what it is, but who knows? Maybe it will lead to something. So I'm just gonna thank her, and I guess I'll go back to like the table or wherever I'm sitting at, and I want to cast. Can I detect magic on it?
You can. You cast detect magic, and you detect nothing. There does not appear to be any magic to this.
Is there
Discord.
anything in it, or is it empty?
Yeah, so it does have a cork. It has a stopper. You open the stopper, and there are traces of there's just like a little bit of a remainder of liquid in it. It is mostly empty.
There's just a little bit of liquid. I'm hesitant to smell it just because I probably realized that smelling things sometimes isn't the greatest.
What?
Um,
Like a fine wine.
but yeah, could I get like some kind of sense of what what color is it? What does it?
What do you have in crafting?
I have a +4 in crafting.
Are you trained in crafting?
I am not.
Okay. You do not know what this is.
Would occultism help in this situation?
No, I don't think so. Yeah, I mean, yeah. Depending on what you think it, I mean, depending on what you think it is, you could make various kinds of checks. But if you're like
The
identifying a strange liquid as
bottle,
probably
the shape of the
crafting.
bottle, the shape of the bottle itself, is that an unusual shape?
I mean, it's not really. It's a nice bottle. You can look at it. It's not like the things I have vanilla extract in. Just the little brown vials. It's much nicer than that.
It's for fancy vanilla extract.
I'll set it on the table for now. I'll look at it for a couple of seconds, and then I'll, file it away. When some of them gets back, I suppose I might ask any of them if they can figure out what it is. I don't like having to depend on the rest of the people to figure out what the solution is, but I don't really have a choice right now.
Arter, you make your way to the home of one Sheriff Rolf Garley. Let me find him. And here he is. Turnip Vaginal. He opens his door and says, "Just one of you, eh?"
Yeah, I didn't think that it was necessary to bring the whole retinue. I'm sorry for coming so late.
Well, come in. You're welcome to visit briefly. And he will sort of show you inside if you want to come in.
Thank you. I will. It's only polite.
Have you found something then?
Yes. It's a little bit of an alarming situation. We have found out that Fort, over the last several years, has been selling, making mysterious sells to a mysterious customer, unlisted in their logs. And we've also learned that there has been some kind of ailment plaguing the wilderness outside of town. And it is my opinion that the two are connected.
He sort of crosses his arms and says, First part sounds strange, probably connected. Second part, superstitious nonsense sounds like to me, but
Mumbo, perhaps.
Well,
Jumbo, perhaps not.
We think that it's worth a worth investigating, but we will need to leave town briefly to do so.
He continues crossing his arms and says, I don't like having any of the, well, if not suspects, witnesses leaving town before the judge arrives back. Judge Mubbage Cranberry, if you remember.
Yes. I understand your
Lord
hesitance.
Mubbage Cranberry.
Of course.
Lord Mubbage of Cranberry.
Mm-hmm.
I understand your hesitance, but it is less than a day's journey, and we will be back in less brief of a time than it has taken us to find each other since our last meeting.
Make a diplomacy check for me, please. A 9. He looks at you and says, I don't like it. You should stay here. And I am the law in this town. The Lord would be quite dismayed to find out that the people he needs to talk to got eaten by were-canaries or something.
Are you aware of the Bloodseeker problem at the old shrine?
Bloodseekers. Well, nobody goes out to the old shrine anymore. No, I hadn't heard of it.
Well, we did. And there was a Bloodseeker swarm that was, well, dirtying up the place. My friends and I, we cleared them out, and we repaired the shrine.
Well, that's all well and good. But I don't see how that's particularly relevant.
My point is that we can take care of ourselves. And, in fact, just this morning, you can ask... What's his name? You can ask Marnie Sather. He was under attack by a wild boar while we were checking in on his sister. And we slew the boar.
Says, well, I'm happy to hear that you killed an overgrown pig, but the law's the law, young man. I will let you make another try at your diplomacy check.
Okay.
A 13.
Better.
He says, you can take care of yourself, and I'm happy you're assisting our town, but I'll give you this. If you can somehow figure out who killed Bort, I will grant you my leave to leave. But not before.
We can't jump ahead.
Or we
I
could.
realize that you've put me in a catch-22.
And with that, I will bid you good night. And he looks kind of expectantly at you.
Okay. Good night.
All right. So on to the rest, to the search. We will go to the map. Alrighty. So Lyra, it sounds like Lyra and Thugrin want to make the attempts to track.
Mm-hmm. I'll
Alrighty.
assist her.
We're
So
kind of
you
going
had-
where the abandoned homes are.
Yeah, you head up toward the Dead Homes, which is this sort of area up here.
You may be better. I'm good at
And you
I guess
start-
I'm good at-
Making your, looking around.
I help.
Okay,
Do I see any lights
that is a plus.
besides our lights?
No, there are no lights in this part of town.
So how does it work with hunt prey? I have to find the footprints
Yeah.
first.
Yeah, if you succeed at your check, you can hunt
Okay.
prey him, and then if you wanted to murder him, you could then use it.
Probably won't go that far.
Okay, I need to pick a DC. Just give me a minute. I'm not gonna look at your result.
I don't think Arter would be happy if I killed anybody. Or Rolf.
Unless he's the murderer.
Mm-hmm.
All I have to do is plant the vial that we don't know about yet on him, and then boom, we solve the case.
Okay, so you look around, and this takes you some time. It takes you a couple of hours. It's getting relatively late at this point, but you find a set of small tracks. Now, keep in mind, RPG pet peeve. You don't know what kind of person is wearing particular shoes.
Yeah,
Dwarves don't wear different shoes from humans. They're shoes.
that's true.
But you can tell from the size. So you find what you are pretty sure is fresh, as in tonight, probably tracks of a small creature, but a light creature.
Mm-hmm.
So it could be a goblin, it could be a gnome. There aren't very many skinny halflings. Could maybe be one of those.
Hey,
Ho, ho, ho.
watch it, GM.
If it's taken them a couple of hours to do this, can I by now?
Yeah, you can catch up with them.
We found tracks. Come,
Good.
human.
So since I found the tracks, that gives me, I get a +2 bonus on my checks to like continue tracking it.
Yeah, so you can then hunt prey, the target, and then you do get a +2 circumstance bonus to survival checks to track the prey.
Okay.
At this point, I need you to make me another survival check, and again, you can either make one combined or you can make two, or anybody else who's trained can do so.
I'm helping.
Yeah. Okay. Well, there you go. Lyra, you're the one who found the tracks, and you're the one who keeps up with them and finds that they lead into a house. And you can see that there's more than one pair of probably the same tracks. So it appears that someone has come and gone more than once.
Okay.
But it does not look like there are 7 people.
Okay. Well, I say, I think he came from this house here.
Guess we should see if he's home.
Yup. I will knock on the door.
You knock on the door. Boom, boom, boom. There is
I want to look around back while she's knocking on the door.
okay. There is no response as you knock on the door.
I open the door?
You open the door, and the door opens. It creaks very loudly. And then you hear a crash
Oh.
and the breaking of glass. And and you can turn and see from the side of the house there is a small form that is running.
Can I try to cast Tanglefoot at it?
What is the range of Tanglefoot?
30 feet.
No. It is. So this creature is already farther away.
Jesus.
Okay.
Would you like to give chase? Very simple. Yes, no.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
We are going to do what is not formally but is effectively a skill challenge.
Alright.
So, you all chase this creature,
Yes.
which is running, so runs sort of away from the dead homes, and then kind of down this way, actually. Let me go to the pointer. Measuring thing. No, snapping. So it goes kind of down this way. Into the market. Now, it's nighttime, so there aren't any people in the market. But he, like, is ducking under carts. There's a bunch of stuff, sort of stalls set up here. And you've got to keep track of him. So the way this is going to work is there will be 2 checks every time you're chasing. Every person can choose between the 2, and I'm going to keep track of how many successes everyone has, because that matters. So, yeah, Thugrin, Ruckus.
Does Oakenclaw get his own thing?
No, he does not.
Aww.
Lena and Lyra. So in the market, he's sort of ducking through carts, and then kind of going around them. You can either make an athletics check to push past the carts, or an acrobatics check to vault around them.
Ooh.
So, Thugrin, what would you like to do?
Thugrin tries to clamber over him, probably stepping on Oakenclaw to get over the carts, but he's a slow dwarf who's very bad at it, so falls in his ass and lies there in the dirt.
Yeah, so that is a 3 is going to be a failure, unfortunately. You do not accumulate a success. Ruckus.
Okay, he's definitely going to try and do some acrobatics to hop over the cart.
Okay.
Oh,
And with a 7,
I think
so
he face plants in the cart.
yeah, it seems that this person, who like runs past a torch outside of somebody's house and is a goblin, it's Finnick. He knows this place better than you do, so he can just zoom around things. Arter, what would you like to attempt?
I would like to use athletics to vault over this stuff.
Okay. A 14 is a success. So you're able to push some carts out of the way, and you don't feel like you're falling behind. Lena.
I will also use athletics.
Okay. A 24
Big jump.
is a critical success.
Athletic as fuck.
So that's 2 successes there. These carts stand no chance in front of an angry halfling. Lyra, what are you gonna do?
I'm gonna do acrobatics
Making
and
me
leap
run.
over them.
If you run, you just die tired.
Oh my
And
gosh! I got a 1.
Luckily, a critical failure does not give you a penalty of any kind. But Lyra, you kind of lose him. So next, he goes, and I'll just do the marker. So he starts running down a side road. And this is essentially just actually there's not 2 options. Sometimes there's 2 options. this you have one option. This is just an endurance race. So he's running this way, he comes down this way, and then he loops back around. Oops. You didn't realize you could have maybe just caught him off guard or, cut him off. I need everybody to make a fortitude save.
Ooh.
Oh, jeez.
So Ruckus with it. I'll wait until everybody rolls.
I just lie down and die.
This is why you need to eat meat.
Yep.
So Ruckus with a success.
Oof.
Thugrin with a critical failure. Lyra with a success. Lena with a critical failure. Is that everybody? And Arter got a 15 is a success. So those of you who failed, I don't think there's a... Yeah. So Thugrin and Lena, your penalty for failing is you take a -1 circumstance penalty on your checks in the next location. So
Okay.
he is running, he keeps running, and he's clearly trying to figure out where he can go that might help. And he kind of finds this alley between some houses, and he dodges around some things, and you're running, and you're trying to catch up to him, and you see that there's this big pit of mud in the way. So you will either need to make a survival check to find a better way around, or a reflex save to avoid falling in the mud. Thugrin, what would you like to do?
Better way around. I take a -1 penalty because I fell on my ass. Survival. Minus. Come on. -1. Oh my.
Okay.
That's
Another critical failure.
Those are 4. We had 4.
So Thugrin face plants into the mud. Ruckus.
Okay. Sorry, 1 second. Is this survival? Sorry.
Survival or reflex save.
Oh god. Reflex save.
And 18 is a success. So you manage to just kind of boop, 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 and you have along the side of the very side of this big puddle of mud, and you manage to not fall in. Arter.
I'm gonna go with reflex.
Okay. And a 16 is going to be a success. Same for you. You find, as you're going, you find a couple of rocks in the mud that you just managed to run right over without falling in. Lena.
I'm going to take a survival check.
Okay.
I'm going to get a -1 penalty because I failed before. And I still got a 23.
A 23 on survival is a critical success. No, it's not a critical. It is a success.
I bet a
but
24 is a critical success, though.
You do find another way around.
Bet that -1 penalty really hurt me.
Lena. And then Lyra, what are you gonna do?
I think I'm gonna do reflex because that's still a little bit higher even with my bonus.
And I will point out these are not necessarily the same DCs, but
Yeah, that's fine.
you don't know which one's higher. So
Well, I don't do.
and a one. Okay.
This is like we've
So-
rolled 5
Wow, that's a
natural
lot
ones.
of not ones.
Bad juju in the
So-
wall is
So Thugrin, so Lyra, you managed barely to not fall on Thugrin. Those of you who failed and are now muddy are sickened 1 for the rest of the chase, unless you
Jeez.
spend a turn. So you can just fail the next one. No, I will say you can skip the next one entirely. You won't get any failure penalties in which to retch, and then you'll get it again in the last one.
What was in that mud?
Yeah, it's gross mud. It just smells really bad. Maybe it's it's probably like a pig pit or something.
Yeah, it's probably poop.
Thugrid
it smells
throws
like
up everywhere. Just vomit everywhere. Just. So I do
So
nothing.
then,
I thought dwarves are supposed to be hardy.
Yeah, well. If it were magical, I could call on ancient blood, but I can't.
nope, it's not magical mud.
Damn.
Is mundane mud. So Finnick then comes through a backyard and he ducks under a fence, and then
They have fences and yards.
Yeah,
Sure.
It's a little suburban town.
I mean, yeah, it's really so. Actually, I guess there's no fence. Yeah, so he just runs through this yard, but it's relatively like narrow. There's trees on the backside, and there is as he walks past or runs past, you hear woof 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 woof, and there's a dog. There's a guard dog. So you are
No.
either going to need to make a stealth check to sneak past the dog, a nature check if you are trained in nature to attempt to calm the dog.
Thugrid is
Stealth.
throwing up everywhere.
So Ruckus is going. So Thugrin is
Blah.
skipping this one. Ruckus is doing a stealth check, and that is a failure. So
The dog eats you.
yeah, we will come back to that. That's a failure. You do get cornered by the dog, Ruckus.
Oh no,
Most
my mortal
goblins,
enemy.
yeah, most goblins are absolutely terrified of dogs. It's up to you whether Ruckus is absolutely terrified of dogs, but there are many goblins who this is literally their worst nightmare.
Oh my god.
Arter.
I'm gonna need to soothe.
Past.
Oh no!
A total of a 1.
Wow.
Clang, clang, clang. The dog notices you, and it's gonna lunge at you, I guess, maybe. Lena.
I'm gonna try stealth.
Okay. A 16 is a failure. This dog sees everybody. Lyra,
This is a good guard dog.
are you gonna?
I want to keep this guard dog.
So sickened, does it give you just a minus or?
It's a -1. Yeah.
I'm just gonna keep going because it may not be smart, but that's what I do. I'm gonna make a stealth check,
Okay.
Jeez.
even though it's failed. Let's see. Yeah,
A
that's
13.
also a failure.
So
We're all-
you all are trying to be sneaky, and this dog is having none of it. So, you are each going to take 1d4 damage as you are bitten by a dog. So Ruckus, you take 2 piercing damage. Arter, you take 1. Lena, you take 3, and Lyra, you take 1. Thugrin, by virtue of not engaging with this particular part of the chase, you do not take any damage.
Yay.
They're my jingly armor.
He then runs kind of all the way back this way and starts running through a turnip field. And this turnip field is actually, have you been to this? Is there a turnip field you've been to or walked through?
Not walked through
Walk
now.
by.
Or walked kind of around? You went around this one. So he's running through this turnip field and he's going to try and like run out of town. Of course this has been plowed, and so it is uneven. So you either need to make a reflex save to keep your feet, or a society check only if you are trained to remember a shortcut.
If I'm a member of the Turnip Society, seems like a weird society.
We
too.
just want to talk.
Yeah.
Well, he obviously has.
That-
Yeah, if you are shouting at him, he ignores you and continues running.
Jeez. What was the first option again?
First option is a reflex save to keep your feet.
Oh God. Fine. Thuker finishes throwing up and then goes to make a reflex save, and 12.
And fails.
Oh.
Ruckus.
You've just been like stumbling like through a bush into like another tree,
No.
into the mud.
Roll 20, go! Stop with these rolls.
So Ruckus, you also get cut up in this uneven soil, and you're slowing down. You are unable to catch him. Harder. A 6 is a failure. It's actually a critical failure. So Arter falls flat on his face in the turnip field. Upside, there's a turnip that looks like it might be ready to pick right next to your face. Lena.
Reflex save.
Ah.
There we
A
go.
24.
Lena's gonna catch him.
A 24 will do it. So
Yeah.
you did you grow up on a farm, Lena?
Yeah, actually.
So that's what's happening. Actually, I should have let you. What's your
Farm
what's your you don't have like farming lore, but
I don't have farmer lore. I took that was my pre-background.
Missed
So I don't
Yeah.
get anything.
yeah. So yeah, you are used to this. You know how to run through a field. You know, maybe you had to catch
To catch my bridey little brother. Yeah, I did it all the time.
possibly that. Possibly catching like a pony or a horse or a pig or something along those lines. So a goblin with 5 total successes, you only needed 1 more for 4. You catch up to him and you push him into the ground. Or do you push him into the ground? But you catch up with him. You grab him by the scruff of the neck.
Yes, and then drag him back to town.
And you drag him back to town.
Slowly
And-
catching up.
I imagine you all have some questions for Finnick, but they will have to wait until next week
Ah!
when you can talk to him and find out
Interrogate the goblin.
what is going on and why he is running from you.
Yeah.
Alright.
We did it. It was
With
comedy
so
of errors.
many failures.
Lena did it.
Lena
Yeah,
did
Lena
it.
did it.
We did it. Good job, us.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 natural ones.
That's just ridiculous.
Yeah, a person needed to get 4.
Oh, so's Lena. Lena did it.
Yeah.
Thank you, Lena.
You're welcome.
So it is interestingly not a team effort.
It's a
Like
race.
kind of the opposite of a team effort.
It's a competition. Do we get any XP for catching the goblin?
I think you do not get any XP for catching him. No.
Okay, that's fine. We'll kill him and get the XP.
Wow.
Goodness.
Brutal.
Alright, we'll interrogate the shit out of this little goblin who definitely killed Bort next time on Really Playing Games, The Fall of Plaguestone.